For anyone who missed it, there was a new breaking story where a man got paid $900,000 for psychological torture after the police forced him to give a false confession that he killed his father. And I know what you're thinking. Well, isn't that pretty normal? Isn't that what like the cop MO is? Isn't that literally what they do? They just show up and then wait for you to confess to something you didn't actually do. And by wait for, I mean terrorize you until you confess. We've seen this a million times. Well, not exactly. In this specific instance, they took it an extra step far. They were like, you know what? I want to submit extra credit this year. Okay? I want to be extra evil. All right? Investigators reportedly threatened to kill his dog, claimed his dad was dead, and said that they had evidence that he killed him. One problem, his dad was alive. Thomas Perez Jr. called the police after his father went missing in Fontana, California. Police brought him into the station where he was interrogated for 17 hours. They told him his father was dead and that they had his body, which was at the morgue, with a toe tag. Police tried to convince Perez that his mind was playing tricks on him and it was suppressing troubling memories like killing his dad. They also brought his dog into the interrogation room so he could say bye to it as they threatened to euthanize it. How can you sit there, quote, how can you sit there and say you don't know what happened and your dog is sitting there looking at you, knowing that you killed your dad? Look at your dog. She knows because she was walking through all the blood, they said. Perez eventually confessed and tried to kill himself by hanging in the interrogation room. Perez's father eventually turned up alive. He had walked to the train station in Fontana and traveled to LA County to visit a relative. He later went to the airport to fly to Oakland to visit his daughter before the police found him.
On August 7, 2018, Thomas Perez Jr. found himself in a living nightmare after reporting his father missing when the family dog returned home alone, which led the Fontana detectives to zero in on Perez Jr., and their suspicion quickly spiraled into a relentless 17-hour interrogation filled with psychological torture. Detectives falsely claimed his father was dead, threatened to euthanize his dog to the point where they brought the dog in to say his goodbyes, and pressured him relentlessly to confess to the murder. Under immense stress and without his medication, Perez Jr. broke down and confessed to the murders he didn't commit. And then the shocking truth emerged later that day, where his father was well alive, and despite knowing this, the police kept Perez Jr. in the dark, leaving him under psychological observation for 3 days, which then led to a civil rights lawsuit against the city of Fontana, resulting in a $900,000 settlement. But the worst part is, 3 of the officers who were involved in the investigation are still employed with the department, while the 4th has retired. On August 7, 2008,
A shocker. They didn't fire the dogshit officers that just cost the city almost $1 million in bullshit? No way. Are you serious right now? That would never happen. It's like, how are they not fired? Like, how are they not fired? Like, genuinely, how are they not fired? And how does the retired officer get to actually collect a fucking pension? And this is only the instances that we know of. And for some context, it was 17 hours of interrogation. This is the worst act of deliberate cruelty that I've ever seen. Suing the police for 40 years, Perez's attorney, Jerry Steering, said, "I've never seen the cops be that cruel to someone." The horrifying ordeal unfolded in 2018, but it was finalized in 2024. 6 years ago, Perez contacted the police to report his father missing after an argument at their family home. When the police searched his house, investigators discovered his wallet, cell phone, and some bloodstains. A canine also alerted the police of the odor of possible human remains, which, if anyone here knows anything about canines, first of all, it's unethical. Let's be real. Every dog that is trained to be a canine is a dog that is better suited to be trained to be a service dog. And they also don't actually accurately assess the smell or presence of things. There's a lot of false flags. I think like the dogs that are at like TSA, they have like a 40 or like 60% success rate They're really not good. And a lot of them end up getting shot. Because, you know, they're with the police. The people you can't trust around dogs. Let me see if there's um there was a really good video that showed how like not good dogs are at this. But I don't think I'm going to be able to find it right now, which is tough. But that's okay. It's not a big deal. And this is why, guys, you always ask for your attorney. Okay? If you're ever in the unfortunate situation where you are in custody, do not talk to the police. Don't talk to them. Tell them, I'm not speaking to you. I want a lawyer present. And it doesn't matter how many times they ask you questions. Just tell them, I want my lawyer.
33
I want
lots
my
of
lawyer.
more people pants, please.
I want my lawyer. And that way, when your lawyer shows up and he says, what did you tell them? And you tell them, and you tell your lawyer, I said, I want my lawyer. He's going to be like, fucking thank you. Thank you. God bless. Okay, this case will be easy for me now. Okay? Lawyers are paid to do the talking for you because they're paid to spend their time learning the law. Okay? My uncle Mike in PA advises I don't talk to the police. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not allowed to break out into songs? No, sadly. Yeah. Don't, they are not your friend. Can you imagine going to the police because you're worried about your dad? And you're like, my dad's missing. And like, we got on an argument. And I just want to know that he's okay. And I just want to like, see if we can put out like some search or something for him or a missing persons or something. And then they interrogate you for 17 hours and tell you to admit that you killed him. And also, if you don't go to the police, you're a suspect and you are the reason why he went missing. Okay. Okay. All right. FYI, in Canada, they can keep asking questions and probing even after you ask for a lawyer. Yeah, and you just don't talk to them. Just let them keep going. Just let them be like, so where were you here? What time were you? What about this? Well, how about this? Just sit there silently. They can't force you to say anything. They can't force you. You don't have to speak to them without a lawyer present. You don't have to. And they're allowed to lie to you. So if they say, no, you have to answer this question, tell them, I'm waiting for my lawyer. I can answer anything when my lawyer's here. I'm just talking about the US to be clear. I'm not necessarily talking about other countries or anything because I don't know the rules about other countries and whether or not you're allowed to plead the fifth in other countries. But I'm only talking about the US. It's not as easy in person. Oh, of course, yes. But just like try your best to steel your resolve and not speak to them because they're terrible people. Okay? Okay. All right. Now, I just wanted to share that story because fuck the police, genuinely. And I'm glad that this guy got to sue them for nearly $1 million. He should have been awarded more, in my opinion. Threatening to euthanize his dog, putting him under fucking emotional distress, trying to convince him that he killed his dad and he didn't kill his dad. And he knew he didn't kill his dad. Yeah. And all of those, in any of these instances where this shit happens, every single one of these police officers should be fired immediately. There should not be just like an easy pension collection. Cops should be afraid of terrorizing people. Because if they did have the dad's body, okay, like at least they do know that the dad is dead, and they do know, and like generally, yeah, the people that are closest to you, especially if you just had an argument with them, yeah, okay, but like threatening to kill this guy's dog, and that you don't even know where the dad is, like holy shit, man. No other job lets you screw up this much and just keep on with the job. I've known people who've worked retail who showed up 5 minutes late and got fired because of it. And as a cop, you get to just like be the worst person at your job and be fine. You can shoot like a car that has people in it because an acorn fell and be fine. Okay. That was a wild story. Yeah.